Previously, when Patron Ernell declared that he hadn't assisted her solely for the pleasure of the previous night but had admired her beauty for quite some time, it wounded Princess Lewellyn's pride, prompting her to glare furiously at him in response, making Ernell to burst into laughter. Now from here, the scene unfolds in Ernell's cabin, filled with lots of books, where Ernell, while searching for a one, confirms with her, asking if she knows about the time and duration of Asmodeus' curse. In response, she nods and complies with a simple yes. He then inquires about how long she endured when the stigma first appeared, on which her reply is that it lasted for 20 days. Hearing her words, he expresses concern, stating that such a prolonged duration can be perilous, and further adds that based on his knowledge, the stigma reappears every 10 to 15 days and an individual can endure it for a maximum of 10 days. Furthermore, he advises her to avoid any contact with holy power because the Asmodeus curse behaves as an evil god blessing and tends to resist by opposing the presence of holy energy. He goes on to explain that the stigma can be activated indirectly, referencing the case of Almondite's blessing. Nevertheless, he offers reassurance, mentioning that she should not worry about her stigma being exposed because only people like practitioners of dark magic or high-level priests have the ability to detect this stigma. Receiving all this information prompts her to reflect that she no longer has to intentionally conceal her hair or wear high-neck dresses. However, she questions whether there exists a method to completely eliminate the stigma. He replies, stating that at present there's no solution, as the stigma is essentially imprinted by a demon god. Consequently, only that specific deity has the authority to remove it. Additionally, there has been no messenger from the holy god in recent years who possesses the capability to wield holy powers. Currently, her most effective approach is to neutralize the stigma and explore ways to eliminate it. Yet, there exists another socially accepted solution, and that is to enter into matrimony with someone. Upon hearing his last suggestion, she recalls the recent engagement proposal from Duke Almondite a few days ago. This revelation causes her to slump down in disappointment, as she has no intention of entering into such an arrangement with the man Duke Almondite. With hesitation, he asks her to share when and where she acquired the curse. Acceding to his request, she reveals that it happened approximately a month ago, during the Royal Palace hunting tournament. Taking note of this revelation, he fixes her with a piercing gaze, and by closing the book in his hands, informs her that he needs to be away from the palace for some time to conduct further research on the stigma. She inquires about the meaning behind his statement of being away for a while. In clarification, he specifies his intention to come back to the palace. Intrigued, she questions the motive behind his return. Witnessing her shock, he confidently delivers another revelation, suggesting that if the stigma reappears and she has any concerns, she should write him a letter. Dear viewers, apologies for the interruption. If you haven't seen the previous segment, it might cause confusion. Therefore, check out the playlist pinned at the top right at your screen for knowing the full story. And if you enjoy the content, please help us reach 1,000 subscribers by smashing the subscribe icon and enabling all notifications bell for quick info to all our future content. Now, let's dive back in the story. The scene unfolds in a corridor, with the princess walking in a specific direction, pondering about why Ernell's words felt so uncommon this time, and asks herself, is it because he had never made such a promise to her in the past? She affirms that he could betray her at any moment, yet somehow all her concerns vanished this morning. With a smile, she quietly wonders to herself if she truly considers Ernell someone with whom she can share her burden. Suddenly, a sound from behind captures her attention, inquiring if she truly enjoyed her breakfast with Ernell, the one who turns out to be Duke Almondite. Noticing his presence, she addresses him as Her Grace, and inquires about the reason for his visit. In response, he bows his head and explains that he desired to see her once more, hence he visits. Plus, adds that he intended to invite her for breakfast, but it appears she is already quite acquainted with a priest she hasn't known for long. Unexpectedly, she brightens up, stating that indeed, Ernell and she are very close and seem to have a lot in common. This elicits a jealous twitch in the Duke's facial expression. This prompts him to ask if her happiness is because he is young and good-looking. In response, she inquires about the reason behind his disrespect towards Ernell, and rebukes him, stating firmly that it is not the Duke's business to question why she meets with Patron Ernell or Commander Tristan. But he interrupts her with loud statement that it is his business because he already announces his plans on marrying her. She smirks with an irritated expression, telling him to dream all he wants, and adds by questioning why he desires to marry a powerless princess. Taking note of the word why, he asks her if she truly doesn't know about their promise, which he is attempting to mend by reconstructing their broken relationship. She responds to him in a dismissive manner, stating that she doesn't consider any silly promises she made in her youth as significant. Moreover, emphasizes that those words hold no official meaning to her. This visibly disappoints him, She adds to his embarrassment by reminding him that their relationship didn't crumble the moment his family betrayed her mother. She points out that he is lowering his standards by marrying an abandoned princess like her, or perhaps trying to regain his family's prestige by doing absurd things. With a cold expression directed at him, she suggests that he should seek a better woman as a partner for engagement, because she cannot erase the memory of the Duke's Berserk family, once an honorable and noble family and founding contributors to the Bryant Kingdom, and the one who faced downfall merely for supporting her late mother. They with powerful authority unparalleled to the Brion family, but were forced to return half of their land to the Bryant Kingdom. This led to the disappearance of the Berserk family, leaving their whereabouts unknown to anyone. However, 5 years later, the Duke returned to the capital proclaiming the leadership of his family and was hailed as a hero. Seeking to capitalize on this opportunity, he planned to avenge his family and secure victory by aligning himself with Queen Pamela. This involved showcasing his loyalty to deceive the kingdom. Furthermore, he intended to use her, who was once his childhood friend, as a tool for his revenge. As he observes her lost in thought, he asserts that her interpretation of his intentions is incorrect because he genuinely wants to fulfill the promise they made in their childhood, a promise that has been eagerly awaited for a long time. Following a moment of silence in their conversation, the Duke, running his fingers through his hair, implies that she likely does not remember it. His words render her speechless, but in an instant she leans in closer to him. Gazing directly into his eyes, she addresses him as Almondite Berserk. Her action reminds him of her innocent childhood face. With the same expression, she once confessed her feelings to marry him in the future, emphasizing it as her promise. Seeing her recognition, he questions, asking if the memory is still vivid for her. As he poses the same question once more, she displays a disgusted expression on her face and bluntly tells him that she harbors strong feelings of hatred towards him. This visibly takes him by surprise. Turning away from him, she furiously adds that if he has chosen to settle in the capital, he should refrain from meddling in her affairs, plus demands that he should abandon his foolish promise or broken relationship excuses. He stands frozen in a state of shock, with expression reflecting disbelief, as she proceeds to leave. However, she abruptly halts and advises him to let go of all the promises made in the last 5 years, as she has already moved on from them. Increasing the distance between them, she resumes her departure once more. Anger fills his eyes and he grits his teeth in frustration, and as he unable to contain his wrath, he refers to Ernell as a bastard, and shouts at her, questioning whether she slept with him. This makes her stop abruptly, pierced by shock. She turns back to him, pondering how in the world he discovered this information. Fear fills her expression, and with a trembling voice she states that she has no idea what he is talking about. In response, he asks once more if she spent the night with Patron Ernell. This time, she angrily shouts at him, questioning whether he has 1 or 2 spies keeping tabs on her. He responds calmly, explaining that while he has ordered someone to provide updates on the events in the palace, it isn't specifically for her to be concerned about, and asserts that despite his banishment from the capital, he still has the right to know what is transpiring there. His announcement leaves her in a state of worried, where she contemplates that she never saw him maintaining silence and reflecting on his behavior after the downfall. Nor did she anticipate him going to the extent of planting a spy in the palace. Once again, wearing a frown expression, he asks if she really slept with Ernell and mentions being informed by the attendants that she didn't leave her room last night. His persistence prompts her to reflect that if Queen Pamela were to hear about the incident with Ernell, she would be in deep trouble. Maintaining her composure, she instructs him to cease with his nonsensical talk about Priest Ernell. Observing her defending the priest, he questions her, asking if she is telling him to believe this. She responds, telling him that whether he believes it or not is up to him. However, she suggests he does not misunderstand her situation with Ernell, and clarifies that yesterday he simply nursed her throughout the night, as she had fainted while having tea with him. Noting the word nursed, he twitches with shock and asks her to explain what she means by fainting. He further expresses concern, asking if she was not well yesterday, and inquiring if she visited the doctor to ensure she is okay now. However, she brushes aside his expressions of concern, responding coldly that she sees no reason to share any information about her situation with him. Furthermore, she states that didn't he mention that their relationship is already broken? Plus, expresses her creeping feeling at seeing his interruption in her business. Additionally, she angrily orders him to stay out of her sight from this moment onward. She turns away, leaving him alone in the corridor. Observing her disregard his attempts at conversation, he becomes disappointed in himself. But he calls her one last time, addressing her as Lewellyn, and explains that his purpose in coming today was to encourage her to participate in the upcoming horse riding competition, since the tournament is approaching. As we wrap up today's segment, thank you for being with us until the very end. I'll be sharing fresh videos of this manga and exciting new series every weekend. Your support is invaluable, so please subscribe and hit the notification bell to stay updated. Your encouragement keeps the channel thriving, and I appreciate it immensely. Until next time, take care and goodbye.